let's start with number 1. How do we write the factored form of 4c minus 36? Kate.
4 and then parentheses c and minus 9.
Very good. That's perfect. You're pulling out the greatest common factor, which is 4, and then you look at what's left. Okay, very good. What about letter B? Kendall. Plus what? Plus 8. Very good, because 5 times b is 5b, and 5 times 8 is 40. Perfect job, okay? All right, number 2, combine like terms. How do we do negative 19 and minus 6 and 8? Keep, change, change, good. Or same, change, change, either way. And then we have a negative 19 and a negative 6, which means I owe you 19, I owe you 6 more, I owe you a total of 25 ends. Remember, they have to be exactly the same in order for us to put those together. Okay? All right, the next one. So if I go ahead and start off with same, change, change, I told you guys that it works really well to circle the things that are the same. Okay, so if I owe you 3, but I have 8 in my pocket, after I pay you, my balance is $5K. And then you can either write minus 13 or you can write plus a negative 13. Either one of those is fine. I don't know what digits is going to accept or not accept. So on a test, if you have, that written down and you type it in, it counts it wrong, then I look at it and I will count it right. Okay, so because that is the exact same thing. All right, then we got into, before this was a challenge one, but then on Friday I taught you how to do this. What do you have to do first on this next one? Parentheses, good. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute and take 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Keep your sign. And then 3 times 7 is 21H. And then I keep this on there too. So negative 4 plus. I cannot add negative 4 plus 3. I can't do this first because that's not order of operations. Order of operations says I have to multiply, divide before I can add and subtract. So that's why you can't do that. You have to multiply first. Okay, then I'm going to look for things that are the same. There is no other H's in this, so there's nothing else I can add that to. The only things I can add together are negative 4 plus 3, now that I've distributed, which is a negative 1. So negative 1 minus 21H. Or you can have negative 1 plus negative 21H. Or you can even have those two reversed and have negative 21H minus 1 or negative 21H plus negative 1. So I'm saying there's so many different ways that you can write that, and I'm just not sure how digits is going to count it. All right, number 3. So go ahead and distribute. 7 times 4x will be 28x. You always keep the sign, and 7 times 8 is 56. I cannot add those two together because one has an x and one does not. And the next one, I have negative 6 times y would be negative 6y. Keep the sign. And then negative 6 times the 6 is negative 36. And remember I said if you have subtract a negative, you do same, change, change, and it becomes plus a positive. So you would want to put 6y plus 36. Okay, questions on any of those? All right, you know you have your test coming up on Thursday. I am putting all 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3 in the computer. 7.1 and 7.2 are already in for you guys. 7.3 I'll probably wait until tomorrow. And then I'm going to put all those in the computer. 7.4 I'm going to put in the computer on this grade card, but then that test will go to the first grade on your grade card. So I hate doing that just because then the minute you walk in the door, you could already have a bad grade. But the flip side of that is then if you take it Thursday, you do horrible, it negatively affects the score. Okay, so I think that's the most fair way to do that. All right, let's look at what we're going to learn today. What I like about today is it's very similar to what we've been doing. I'm just going to add another piece to it. This is, the student will understand how to subtract algebraic expressions. The last time we were talking about really how to add them. All right, so let's look at something you kind of already know how to do. Okay, which is this idea idea of same, change, change. Okay, I told you that's never going to go away. And it becomes very helpful here. So our problem right here is x plus 4. Now we have a minus 2 minus 7x. Okay, so anytime we have subtraction, no matter what, we have to do same, change, change. Okay, so there's 2 times in here I have to do this. So same, change, change, and same, change, change. I'm not sure why I don't see writing. I see like 3 people writing. Okay, now here's what I want you to say. It says rewrite subtraction as addition. I put a little reminder, same, change, change. And do you see what they wrote in red in that second part? What did I say is always an imaginary number that's always sitting there? There's always a 1 sitting there. So when you have this right here, this really means you have an imaginary -1 sitting here. So it's like you have to distribute that sign to everything inside. Okay, so here's how this works. This is going to stay the same in the beginning. So x plus 4. You're going to keep your sign, which is a plus sign now, and you're going to distribute a -1. So -1 times 2 is -2. You keep your plus sign. -1 times -7 is positive 7x. We're going to do this several more times until you get it. Okay, then from this part, now you can combine like terms. So we would take the 7 plus the x, and that would make 8x. And 4 plus -2 would be plus 2. So the only thing I'm adding is you have to watch for that subtraction sign. And again, we're going to do this several more times until it starts to click. Okay, ready to switch screens so we can try this again? All right, let's try it again. All right, we're going to start off really simple. We're just going to rewrite without parentheses. We're not even going to worry about combining like terms at first. Okay, because sometimes in digits it tells you to do that. All right, so let's look at the first one. What did I tell you to do with all subtraction signs? Same, change, change, right? Okay, so start there. Same, change, change. So, same, change, change. Okay, what do I need to do with that negative sign? Add a 1 so that it's now -1. Actually, I'm going to rewrite this so it's slightly larger. It's a little too small for me. Okay, so here's where I was. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add in the 1. So that's what I've added. I did same, change, change, and then I added the 1. Okay, now what do I need to do? Distribute, good. Okay, so I'm going to leave this 13x alone, plus, now I'm going to distribute. -1 times 9 is -9, good. Keep the plus sign. -1 times 5. -5x. Okay. And all it said to do was to rewrite without parentheses. So according to their directions, I'm done. I'm not going to do anything else. Just going to practice that part. Questions on how to do that? Okay, let's try the next one then. So I'm going to rewrite it so I have a little bit more space. So 16m minus 3 plus 8m. All right, what's the first thing we have to do? Good, same, change, change. So keep this the same, change, change. Then what do I have to do? Add the 1 in there, right? So I'm distributing a -1. Okay, so here's I'm going to put in the 1. And now I can start to distribute, right? So I leave the 16m alone. So I write 16m plus, now I'm going to distribute. -1 times 3 is -3. Keep the plus sign. -1 times 8 is -8n. And then that's all I have to do. It didn't tell me to simplify it. It just told me to rewrite it without parentheses. Okay? All right, you try that last one. Let's see if we're getting somewhere, if you're understanding now. Did you guys get 5n minus 7 plus -3n? Yes. Okay, if we didn't, what can I help with? Where? change this to this. Is that what you want instead?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the same thing. Remember, you're going to have to be able to see that eventually. That's all the same thing. Okay, anything else? All right, so let's try to go one step further with this. All right. Oh, wait, did I do the same? You know what? I think I put a slide in there for practice. Let me see. Oh, now I'm just making dots all over my PowerPoint. Hold on. Okay, I did change them. Do you want to try another one, or do you want to go? Let's go into simplifying, because it's the same thing. Okay, let's simplify. Go to this slide. Okay, so simplify. So the last one was just rewriting without parentheses. Now we're going to do the whole shebang. Okay? All right, whole shebang. So first thing I have to do is change my sign. I'm going to rewrite this a little bit bigger. All right, so same change, and then put in my -1. Now I'm going to distribute just like you did a second ago. So I'm going to write 14n plus -1 times 6 is -6. Keep my plus sign. -1 times 7 is -7n. Okay, now I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have two things that are exactly alike. They both have m's in them. As long as they both have m's, I can put them together. So that is this one and this one. So 14 and -7. So I have $14. I owe you 7. So the balance is +7. So 7m. And you can either write -6 or you can write plus and -6. It's up to you how you want to write it. Okay, I'd like you to go ahead and try the next one now, see if you can go all the way through that process. Come on. All right, so let's look at a word problem with this. All right, a company has 2 manufacturing plants with daily production levels of 5x plus 11 items and 2x minus 3 items respectively. The first plant produces how many more items daily than the second plant? Now, I think that can sound overwhelming unless you think about it with regular numbers. So let's say this, instead of saying 5x plus 11, let's say a company has 2 plants and the first one can make 100 items, okay? So this, let's say this is 100 items. And let's say, and then this plant can make 75 items, okay? What would I do then? If the first plant produces how many more items daily than the second plant? You just subtract. So I always put in numbers I understand when I don't understand the algebra because I think it helps, okay? So I'm literally going to say 5x plus 11, and that's one plant, so that's why they have it in parentheses, or why we would put it in parentheses, minus the second one, and all that has to stay together because that's plant number 2. Like that. And then that's exactly what we've been doing. We're just subtracting the 2. Respectively, do you guys know what respectively means? No, it just means in order. You know, like there's the first one, there's the second one. Okay, so all we have to do is change our signs and distribute, and we're going to have this thing done. This would be really easy. Okay, so we're going to change our signs here, tack on our -1. We're going to keep the first one exactly the same. So 5x plus 11 plus -1 times 2 would be -2x. Okay, I can go ahead and keep this sign or change it. It doesn't matter. So subtract -1 times 3 would be -3. And then I could go ahead and do same change because I have 2 of them in a row. Bingo, bingo. Look for my like terms. I have 2 sets of like terms here. I have the 5x and the -2x, which will make +3x. And then I have some numbers that I can put together. So I have a +11 and a +3. So if I add those 2 together, I get a +14. And then I'm done. 3x plus 14. Okay? Questions on that one before we start some practice so I can make sure you're good? Okay, very good.